Taxes. When we hear this word, most of us instinctively frown a little. But here's an interesting fact. Taxes are older than money, older than empires, and even older than writing itself. Today we're going to explore one of the oldest, yet most influential systems in human history, the world's first tax system. To understand this story, we need to travel back thousands of years to a time when money did not exist, banks were unknown, and states had not yet taken their modern form. In the earliest days, humans were hunter-gatherers. They hunted to survive and consumed whatever they found. There was no accumulation, no storage, and therefore no need for taxes. Everyone fended for themselves. Everything changed with the discovery of agriculture. People learned how to plant, harvest, and store food. They settled down. Villages were established. Villages grew and cities began to emerge. Humans were no longer just surviving. They were producing surplus. And at that exact moment, a very important question arose. Who would manage this system? Who would build irrigation canals? Who would construct temples? Who would protect the cities? The answer was simple, but it came with a cost. Everyone would give up a portion of what they had. The first known tax system in history emerged in Mesopotamia, especially during the Sumerian period, around 3000 to 3500 BCE. At that time, money did not yet exist. For this reason, taxes were paid in goods. Farmers paid with barley and wheat. Those involved in animal husbandry paid with livestock. Artisans contributed with the goods they produced or with their labor. Taxes were usually collected by temples and rulers. The collected goods were stored in large granaries. These resources were used to feed priests, employ workers, support soldiers, and keep cities functioning. There is an interesting detail here. A large portion of the earliest written documents in human history are tax records. Clay tablets recorded who paid how much, who was in debt, and who had not paid their taxes. In fact, writing itself may have been invented partly to track taxes. The first accountants were the first tax officials. Of course, not everyone was happy with taxes. As taxes increased, public resistance grew. People began hiding their crops, giving false declarations, and some even abandoned their homes. In other words, tax evasion is almost as old as taxation itself. In ancient Egypt, the tax system was closely tied to the Nile River. If the Nile flooded well, harvests were abundant and taxes increased. If the flood was weak, people still had to pay taxes while struggling with hunger. This situation occasionally led to uprisings. Later, the Roman Empire took the stage. Rome established an incredibly advanced tax system. There were land taxes, trade taxes, inheritance taxes, and sales taxes. Rome's tax system was so effective that it served as a model for other civilizations for centuries. Even today, many modern tax concepts are rooted in Roman practices. But as power grew, so did the problems. While some tax collectors became wealthy, the general population grew poorer. Inequality increased, and taxes became a burden in the eyes of the people. Now let's stop and think. What would happen without taxes? There would be no roads, no armies. Cities could not grow to this scale. States could not survive. Taxes were difficult, but they were also one of the foundational pillars of civilization. The logic behind the taxes we pay today is almost the same as the system established by the Sumerians thousands of years ago. The only thing that has changed is the method. Today we have digital systems, banks, and laws. But the idea remains the same, taking a share from the individual for the sake of society. In summary, The world's first tax system made the emergence of cities, states, and civilizations possible. Whether people liked it or not, this system shaped the course of human history. And perhaps the real question is this: are taxes a burden, or the inevitable cost of civilization? If you found this historical journey interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.